Joe Baldwin just waited. It was cold, it was winter, you're in the middle of the swamp, and it was very dark. A few hours later, he heard the sound of a train whistle and some rumbling. He could feel it on the tracks. And he knew then that the engine was approaching. So Joe Baldwin lit the lantern and began to walk down the tracks, away from Rattlesnake Grade. Except as he was walking down the tracks, he realized the whistling was coming from behind him. At that point, he knew there was a train coming from Wilmington, an unscheduled train. So Joe Baldwin raced back down the tracks behind the cars and tried to ward off the approaching engine. But it was too late. The approaching train smashed into the cars that were immobile on the track, exploding them into pieces. And Joe Baldwin, well, he didn't make it, unfortunately. They say that Joe, from the impact, was decapitated. His head flew off a couple hundred yards out into the swamp. Joe Baldwin's body remained, as mangled as it was. They never found the head. Now the story from there goes on, and that is about 10 years later, they began to experience strange lights in this area as trains from Wilmington were approaching Rattlesnake Grade. As they would approach Rattlesnake Grade, they would notice two lanterns swinging in the distance. And they became known as the Rattlesnake Eyes. However, after the earthquake here in 1886, one of the lights vanished, and it became one light. The thing with the light is, as the trains approached and they came upon this light, it would suddenly vanish. And then someone at the back of the train would notice, a minute later, the light behind them. It simply disappeared. They ran through what was ever there. And that's when the legend of Joe Baldwin was born. Joe Baldwin, they say, is still with his lantern, looking for his lost head.